Hey everybody, how's it going? It's your boy J-Rod back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Dallas Mavericks, as you can see in the title. Um, you know, just as I said, I want to talk about a few teams' free agencies and their team that I've been very interested in, and there's some stuff they've done recently has been pretty interesting to me as well. So I thought maybe let's break them down. So no more wasting any time. Let's get into it. The Dallas Mavericks, are they going to be good? That's my main question. I am not sure if I think the Dallas Mavericks are going to be good. And so let's talk about it. What did they do this offseason? They re-signed Kyrie Irving to a 3-year, $120 million contract that has a few potential bonuses in there, I think, that can bump it up to, if I'm not wrong, I think like $126 million. Not a lot, but it can go up a little bit. And I also think that third year is a player option, so not guaranteed. They re-signed Dwight Powell to a 3-year, $12 million contract. As far as I can tell, that's guaranteed, and I don't think I mentioned anywhere else this video. That's one hell of a steal. Dwight Powell is not the best center that's ever existed, but for $4 million a year for over each year for 3 years, it was a no-brainer for Dallas. They like him. They play him a lot. This was a great contract. I thought even with his issues, there's no way Dwight Powell's making less than $12 million. Yeah. So that's a pretty good deal. They signed Seth Curry to a 2-year, $9.2 million contract. I'm actually not as down on this as I think a lot of Mavs fans are. I'm a pretty big Seth Curry guy. And while I understand he doesn't really solve a lot of issues other than shooting that the Mavs have, and considering your two stars are Kyrie and Luka, it's hard to find a spot for him out there, especially defensively, and justify it. But I really think the upside with Seth Curry and just having another veteran shooter to come in is more than worth it. And on top of that, it's a $9.2 million. The Mavericks should feel no pressure to play him. They should they can make him a 10-minute guy, a 20-minute guy. It doesn't matter. He's really easy to fit in there. He's just a great shooter, and the Mavericks needed some good shooters, so I like it. They signed Dante Exum to a 2-year, $6.1 million deal. I think only the first year of this is guaranteed. Only $3 million of it. I have no thoughts on it. I think the upside of it is really good, or could be really good. I don't even know why I said that. In an ideal world, it could be good. I think I'm just kind of happy to see Dante Exum back in the league. So, I think it's great for the Mavericks. I don't know, but do I like it? Yeah, I just like seeing them back in the league. They drafted Derek Lively, and in the process got off of Davis Bertans' contract, so I think that was one hell of a steal. Lively was the guy that everybody was saying Dallas wanted, and so to move off of that, get a TPE and Derek Lively, very good. They traded for Richaun Holmes. I don't remember what all was involved in this deal, but I like the idea of Richaun Holmes on this team. I think he's a pretty good fit. And also, I just like the idea of acquiring more big man depth. They like having guys that can get to the basket. They love their rim runners and rollers. So, yeah, it's pretty good, especially because I don't remember them giving up really much anything of value. And they signed and traded for Grant Williams. This is the most recent one, the most interesting one to me. It's about, I didn't write down, but if I'm remembering correctly, a 4-year, $54 million deal, which is one hell of a steal, I think. I don't know if I think he's worth more than that, but I think most other teams would have paid him more than that. So, yeah, 4 years, $54 million for a player that is scrappy and plays some pretty good defense and ideally is a pretty good shooter out there. I like it. So, let's talk about what I like. And yeah, I like Lively's fit. I think his upside is exactly what Dallas needs. Keep in mind, this is from what I can tell. I don't watch a lot of college basketball. I watch some highlights, and I listened a lot to what others say. And the buzz and the buzz around Lively and the clips I've seen of him, his upside is perfect for what Dallas needs. And so I think that's a very good signing, a very good draft, very good pick from them. Sorry, geez. And I like it. They got most of their talent on multi-year contracts at great prices. If you look at it, that Seth Curry deal is a 2-year deal, $9.2 million. Grant Williams, 4 years, $54 million. Dwight Powell, 3 years, $12 million. a lot of like not short deals, which is what teams who are trying to quickly build a contender do. Is they just like, okay, here's 1 year, here's 2 years. I understand Seth Curry's 2 years, but like the ones that they really needed, they signed a multi-year deals, and I like that. And even then, I like the flexibility with like the Seth Curry contract. The fact that that one is a multi-year, so if it does work out, you have him for another year. If not, he's not worth a lot, and he's very movable. And they filled a few holes in terms of shooting and defense. I think they needed to be better, mainly at both of those. They got Seth Curry and Grant Williams to shoot, Grant Williams to defend. Derek Lively, as far as I've heard, I think he could be a pretty good defender. So they filled a few of their holes that they needed to deal with this offseason. But they also didn't do all of that. As much as I love Seth Curry, like I said, his defense really is not what the Mavericks needed. They did not need another guard who can't play defense for the life of himself. And Seth Curry is like 6'2" and a poor defender. So guard-wise, I think this is like a really bad defensive team still. And who knows, maybe Exum has been cooking over there in the foreign leagues. And he's one heck of a defender now. But I really think guard-wise, they could get a whole lot better defensively. And so I think that was a big issue that they just didn't address. Kyrie and Luka are probably like one of the worst defensive pairs in the NBA, like defensive duos in terms of like all-star duos. So yeah. I also don't think they made a big enough splash. Mavericks fans are very like, this Grant Williams signing changed the game for us. This is what we needed. And while I'm like, yeah, this Grant Williams signing is good, considering they missed the postseason, I was expecting a bit more from the Mavericks. And I don't know, I liked what I saw, but I was expecting a bit more, and I was expecting a bit more drastic of moves, partially in a bad way, but also partially in a good way. So I don't know. I think that they didn't do enough to convince me that they're contenders, considering they missed the postseason last year. This is a response that like the Lakers make. Like the Lakers do something like this because they were in the conference finals last year. Or is this something that like the Philadelphia 76ers do because they were in the conference semifinals? Like, it was like they were improving what they already had in a lot of ways, but I think they needed to rebuild part of it. Not rebuild the team, but kind of understand, here's where we're bad, and we need to do our best to get better in those areas. And while they didn't do as much of that as I'd liked. And also, this one is not really their fault. They lost out on Matisse Thybulle. I was really excited when they got Matisse Thybulle. He's not, as far as I remember, he's like 6'5", 6'6". He's not that tall. He's not very great on offense. He's an okay shooter, but he's a great defender, and he could be put at the 2 when Luka's at the 1, or you could put him at the 3 when Luka and Kyrie are both in, and he would be able to slide down and defend those guards really well. And I think he wouldn't have made this offseason perfect, but I definitely would have looked at them and been like, okay, they addressed basically all their issues. So I'm willing to say this could be a sleeper dark horse title contending team. Right now, I don't look at the Mavericks and think there's really a chance they're title contenders. But what could they do to get there? There's still a few names I like. I called this section "What's Next," but I mainly just wrote down a few names I like. PJ Washington. I don't know how he's still a free agent. Same with Kelly Oubre Jr. I don't know what's going on with him in Charlotte, but snatch those boys up if possible. It's a lot of money, and they'd have to go deep into the luxury tax. I don't even know if they could afford it. But if you could snatch either one of these, I know you signed a lot of big men, but PJ Washington would be like a perfect fit in Dallas. And Kelly Oubre Jr., he isn't going to solve your guard defense issue, but he's a pretty solid defender and one heck of a offensive player and like shooter. So I really like the idea of him on this roster. And in terms of the guard stuff, you know, I hate saying this. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, and I'm very pissed that he's still a free agent. Go get Ayo Dosunmu. Yeah, he had a rough sophomore year. I'm like the big Ayo Dosunmu fan I know, and I'll say he had a rough sophomore year. But Bulls fans and NBA fans in general, mainly Bulls fans, because they're really the only people who talk about Ayo Dosunmu, are just ready to give up on him. Like he's a lost cause, and I think it's ridiculous. I think the upside of Ayo Dosunmu would be perfect almost anywhere he goes, especially in Dallas. But even then, like the upside of him is in my head a Drew Holiday-esque player, which putting Drew Holiday next to Luka Doncic would be a dream come true. But even if he is as he is, Io is a very gritty defender. He's still a good defender. He could shoot the ball. He isn't a liability on offense. Yeah, he didn't have the greatest sophomore season. There was some issues with effort sometimes. There's so much from Io Dosunmu in his rookie year, and just what he even showed last year in his rough season that screams he'd be perfect as a backup guard for this team. And I don't know why the hell we still have him as a free agent. It pisses me off every day. I genuinely get tearful at the thought that he's going to be in a not Chicago jersey next year. But if you have the opportunity to get any of these three guys, the most realistic probably being Io Dosunmu, you do it. And as sad as I would be as a Bulls fan to see him walk, if he helped Dallas turn into a contender, man, I'm going to be rooting for him all the way. But that's just what I'm thinking about Dallas. I think that, they answered a lot of issues they had. They got better defensively, marginally better defensively. They got much better shooting-wise. They're a better three-point shooting team now. But I don't think they did enough to make them contenders. I think when I look at this roster still, it doesn't scream contender to me. It doesn't say even really dark horse contender. Maybe, but I think that there's just too many holes that Dallas still has on this roster, specifically in the guard section and their defense, that they need to address before I can look at them and say, yeah, this is a contender. But there's still time in free agency, so I want to see what they do first. And I also want to hear what you guys think down below. Any Dallas Mavericks fans disagree with me? Just anybody in general disagree with me? Agree with me? Please let me know. Please leave a comment down there while you're down there. If you don't mind, leave a like and subscribe. And as always, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.